Imagine the silence of the North American wilderness. It is the year 1600. You are deep in the boreal forests of what is now Canada. It is February, the time the Algonquian people call the hard moon or the starving moon. The snow is 6 feet deep. The game animals have vanished. The wind howls like a living thing, and the temperature drops so low that the trees themselves crack open with the sound of gunshots. You are huddled in a shelter with your family. You have eaten the last of your dried meat. Then you ate the leather of your boots. Now, you look at your children, and for a split second, a terrifying thought crosses your mind. They don't look like family anymore. They look like meat. This is the birthplace of the Wendigo. It is not just a monster, it is the physical embodiment of hunger, desperation, and the breaking of the ultimate taboo. Today, we are not just telling a ghost story. We are investigating a historical and psychological phenomenon that terrified an entire continent for centuries. We will look at the Jesuit missionary records from the 1600s, the court transcripts of the famous Wendigo trials, and the medical reality of Wendigo Psychosis. Lock your doors. Let's enter the woods. What exactly is a Wendigo? If you look at modern movies or video games like Until Dawn, you will see a creature with the skull of a deer and giant antlers. While this image is terrifying, it is a modern invention. The traditional Wendigo described by the Cree and Ojibwe elders is far more disturbing because it looks painfully human. According to the legends, the Wendigo is a gaunt, emaciated figure, standing over 15 feet tall. Its skin is gray, like the ash of a dying fire, and pulled so tight over its bones that you can see every rib. It looks like a walking corpse that has just crawled out of a grave. Its eyes are pushed back deep into their sockets, glowing like burning ice. But the most horrific detail is its mouth. Its lips are tattered and bloody. Why? Because in its insatiable hunger, it has eaten its own lips. The Wendigo gives off a foul odor of decomposition and death. You can smell it before you see it. And it is always, always crying. Its hiss sounds like the wind, but hidden in that wind is the sound of a human voice mimicking your loved ones, trying to lure you out into the dark. But how is a Wendigo born? Unlike other monsters that are born as beasts, the Wendigo starts as a human. It is a curse brought on by greed and cannibalism. In the harsh winters of the North, survival was a group effort. You shared your food. If one person hoarded food while others starved, that selfishness opened the door to the spirit. But the final transformation happens when a human consumes human flesh. The moment the taboo is broken, the human soul is pushed out, and the Wendigo spirit rushes in. The person's heart freezes solid, literally turning into a block of ice. They grow claws. Their hunger becomes endless. The tragedy of the Wendigo is that it can never be full. Every time it eats a person, it grows in size relative to the meal. So, it is always starving. It is a creature trapped in an eternal cycle of gluttony and torture. It eats to survive, but the eating only makes the hunger worse. This is not just folklore. We have written historical records from European settlers who encountered this phenomenon and were terrified by it. In 1661, Jesuit missionaries in Quebec wrote reports to their superiors in France about a strange malady affecting the local tribes. Father Henri Nouvel wrote about men who were seized by a canine hunger. He described warriors who begged to be killed because they could feel the monster taking over. They would shout, "Kill me before I eat my children." The missionaries thought it was demonic possession or werewolves. They didn't understand that they were witnessing a cultural breakdown caused by famine and the harsh environment. These written records prove that the fear of the Wendigo was a very real, tangible part of daily life in the 17th century. One of the most well-documented cases of a Wendigo incident occurred in the winter of 1878 to 1879. It involves a Cree trapper named Swift Runner. He was a big man, well respected by the Hudson's Bay Company and his tribe. But during a brutal winter in Alberta, something snapped in his mind. Swift Runner and his family were isolated in a cabin. They were starving. But instead of seeking help, which was only 25 miles away at a trading post, Swift Runner stayed. He later claimed that a Wendigo spirit whispered to him in his sleep. Over the course of the winter, he murdered his wife, his mother, his brother, and his 6 children. He didn't just kill them, he cooked and ate them. When the police finally arrived at his camp, they found a scene of absolute horror. But what shocked them most was Swift Runner himself. He wasn't emaciated. He wasn't starving. He was well-fed and strong. He showed no remorse. He told the officers, "I did not kill them. The Wendigo inside me killed them." He was put on trial and executed in Fort Saskatchewan. To the white settlers, he was a madman. To his own people, he was a victim of possession. If there are monsters, there must be hunters. Enter Jack Fiddler. Jack Fiddler was an Ojibwe chief and a shaman who lived in the remote forests of northern Ontario. He claimed to have the power to see the Wendigo spirit before it fully took over a person. Jack Fiddler wasn't hunting beasts in the woods, he was hunting the sickness within his own people. Throughout his life, he claimed to have defeated 14 Wendigos. In reality, these were members of his tribe, sometimes friends or relatives, who had become delirious from fever or starvation and started showing signs of cannibalistic desires. Fiddler would euthanize them before they could harm the tribe. He believed he was saving their souls. In 1907, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrested Jack Fiddler and his brother Joseph. They were charged with murder for killing a woman who was turning into a Wendigo. The trial was a clash of cultures. The court saw cold-blooded murder. Fiddler saw a necessary act of protection against a supernatural threat. Before he could be sentenced, Jack Fiddler escaped the white man's law. He walked out into the woods during a break and strangled himself. He refused to die in a cage. He was the last true Wendigo hunter. Is the Wendigo real? Modern science offers a theory known as Wendigo Psychosis. This is a culture-bound syndrome, a specific type of mental illness that only exists within a certain culture. Psychologists believe that under extreme stress, isolation, and starvation, the myths people believe in can become their reality. A starving person in these tribes grew up hearing that hunger turns you into a monster. So, when they started starving, their brain convinced them they were actually transforming. They felt their heart freezing. They saw people as food. It is a terrifying example of how the stories we tell can physically reshape our minds. According to the legends, killing a Wendigo is nearly impossible. Bullets pass through it. It heals instantly. You cannot outrun it. But there is a way. Fire is the key. You must burn the creature to ash. But the most critical step involves the heart. Remember, the heart of a Wendigo is made of solid ice. Even if you kill the body, the heart will continue to beat. To end the curse, a hero must cut open the chest of the monster, rip out the frozen heart, and throw it into a roaring fire. As the ice melts, the human soul trapped inside is finally released, screaming as it ascends to the afterlife. Why does the Wendigo legend survive today? Why are we still fascinated by it? Perhaps because the Wendigo is the perfect monster for the modern world. The Wendigo is a creature of consumption. It consumes everything around it and is never satisfied. It destroys the environment, it destroys its family, and it destroys itself. Many indigenous scholars argue that the Wendigo is a metaphor for colonialism and capitalism, systems that consume resources and people with an endless, insatiable hunger. We may not live in the frozen forests anymore, but the spirit of the Wendigo, the spirit of greed, of taking more than you need, of valuing your own survival over the community, is more alive today than ever before. So, the next time you find yourself walking in the northern woods during a snowstorm, listen closely to the wind. If you smell the scent of decaying leaves and death, or if you hear a voice calling your name from the darkness, don't look back. Just run. Because the Wendigo is always hungry, and tonight, it might be hunting you.